Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of our weekly Cloud On Air Innovators series. I'm Chloe Condon, a cloud advocate here at Google, and I'll be your host each week as we dive into different technical topics, watch demos, and learn best practices from some of our top experts here at Google. If you joined us last week, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. We're so excited to have you join us and be a part of our new community. Now, if you're joining us live, you may notice that we have a live chat. So feel free to use this space to interact with other viewers and ask any questions that you may have about the topics being discussed in today's session. One of our moderators will try to answer you live in chat, or you may just be lucky enough to have your question answered live on the air during our question and answer session with our speaker at the end of this presentation. And if you're not joining us live, why not? Make sure that you join us for one of our upcoming sessions so you can join in on the fun live as it happens. To learn more, check out cloudonair.withgoogle.com, and you'll be able to take a look at our previous streams and register for all of the upcoming sessions that we have. You can take a look at last week's session with Gleb on building RAG applications with Google's AI-powered databases, or my live demo with Daryl, where we did a live demo showing how to use Duet AI for developers to accelerate software development. We have a great library of content for you to look through, so feel free to check out our catalog of videos from Google experts that you can watch on demand for free. Without further ado, let's begin today's session. Take it away.
Hey, Chloe, thanks so much for that intro. Hi, everyone. Alan Brocken. I'm an AI hypercomputer specialist focusing on the infrastructure on GCP and how we can get people rapidly onboarded for running their own innovation projects. And I'm here with my good friend, Yuri. Yuri, you might want to introduce yourself?
Hello, Alan. Nice to see you here. I'm Yuri. I'm a developer for most of my life, actually, more than 20 years now. So I started developing apps, generic apps, but I got in love with data and data science. So I moved quickly to this data analysis part and then data engineering, everything data actually. And these days I'm specialized in machine learning and AI. I'm one of the specialists for agile engines. And for now, I'm further specializing in LLMs. So yeah, I'm a great GCP guy. So that's me.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you joining me today. You know, one of the things I like about Agile Engine and the conversations we've had with you and your company is just you're really focused on helping sort of startups, smaller companies, new innovators be successful. Can you talk just about some of the challenges you've seen with kind of new people into this space doing rapid app development with LLMs?
Sure. Our main goal in the company is actually to build successful stories for our clients. Them being Fortune 500 or really small startups doesn't make all that difference for us, as long as we enjoy the process and the project, and we can bring value to the client. So in this space, many business are trying to leverage LLMs in their business, and this is very useful and is cutting edge technology. So we try to create an environment where we can build something really fast and help our clients to achieve their goals, at least with this big bootstrapping part, this kickstart of the project. So we have this whole new approach where we do some intro calls, some discovery, and we right after prepare some MVP or POC so we can iterate over that. So in a very much software development fashion, we iterate over something small to create value to the clients.
So when you think about that, and especially what are some of the things that people run into really early in this process that makes it hard for them to even get started?
They actually are searching for solutions leveraging these technologies that are overhyped right now. Not overhyped, but hyped to the
Yeah.
extent like LLMs and everything. So we try to bring this power to them in let's say, industrial manner, like in a commercial enabling, particularly to develop the business upon. So there are great ideas out there. Most of them proves unfeasible not by technology but by product design. So we try to merge these two avenues, like technically savvy people with nice products and what is possible and what's not.
So I think that's a really key point you mentioned about what's possible and what's not, and kind of, there's a lot of hype. A lot of people are super excited. Let's go do this thing, but it might not be possible, or it's a lot harder than it looks. Can you talk a little bit about how Google Cloud Services can help somebody get started?
Sure. Like, this is very cutting edge. So we even need somewhat specialized hardware for it, and the clouds provide it, all of them actually, but GCP solutions are by far the most available, easiest, and why not performant of those technologies. So I think, like, without GCP backing us up, we wouldn't be able to leverage all that power
Well, when you
in
talk
that
about power,
speed.
I mentioned when you talk about power, I mentioned I'm an AI hypercomputer specialist, and I love that architecture and that idea that we kind of give your LLMs the hyperdrive with our hypercomputer. So, with that in mind, can you talk a little bit about a sample deployment? Like, what's something that you might do to help somebody quickly get going with an LLM on GCP?
Yeah, we had our one of our first. It was ending last year. One of our first success stories from like POC to product. So it's actually a CV analyzer, because one of the features that is not sung on the news, like, is capabilities of uh, context understanding and data extraction by LLMs. So people usually think it's everything is chat based, so you need to be back and forth with messages, but you can actually use it as a backend, and I must say it's a very powerful backend if you need to. So it is like a resume extraction. So people send their files, and we extract the info that is needed. So this is a very successful story, and we actually did it really quick. The first POC, at least, so we could iterate upon that.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing this because I think as a let's say innovator myself, I like to dabble a little bit here and there. Technically, I'd love to see how you put this together, see what I could do.
Awesome. We have some material here to talk about, to go over and like explain our train of thought here. So uh, again, I will say this all over and over and over. I'm not a front end guy. I'm not a designer. I'm not even artistic inclined. So this is what I can like. Okay, it's like from Google cheat sheet system. Was cool to design architectures, but sorry by that. But let's say that we want to develop this. This is pretty generic. Is like just a bootstrap for us to be deploying things. So we have the web. Everything is API these days. No need to be doing GRSCPs or something like it on the backends. Messaging, nothing like that. Let's just use REST APIs because it's our bread and butter here. So GCP, more than the AI solutions that are top notch, it has its own ecosystem that we can like, without any kind of knowledge of deployment, DevOps, anything, you can like do your thing. So that's why I put like a cloud function on the front. This is our API. It will be really small code just to get the request. It will get a file, a PDF file. It will throw to Vertex AI, which is Google solution, GCP solution to manage your AI. So, and then Vertex will talk to the models. So we don't talk directly to the models. So I put here Text Bison or Gemini Pro. For now, Gemini Pro and much others, like you can actually explore lots of them. You can even explore like some code ones. So the basic flow, like the really basic flow for this POC, it would be like you talk to the API, which is a cloud function. A cloud function is a simple Python file. I'm a Python guy, so this is my tool. You talk to that, you send a file to that, it will process, really easy process, just convert to text. It will talk to Vertex AI. Vertex will talk to the model itself, like it will leverage, instantiate, like execute and get the answer back to you in a API manner. This all works within like GCP's gateway gates. So you don't actually need to code anything. You just need to put your code on the cloud function and gets the service instantiated, and that's it. You are all good to go.
So, hey, Yuri, we had a quick question here. Is this a function as a service? You want to talk just a little bit about functions?
Yeah. Functions as a service, as you call it, like are just like small codes. It should be, at least. There are people running Django and really long stuff, but it's just like to be a single function, single responsibility paradigm that you should run and interact with your client and other services on the cloud side. So it's really easy to deploy an endpoint and really easy to get access to all the cloud power, like the GCP power, and this is just an interface to it. So you put a code in a browser. It can be like really quick. You're just coding within your browser. No need to set up IDEs or keys for development and these kind of things. You just put your code on the browser and you have an endpoint working in order for you to get access to your cloud. It's awesome.
No, that's great. Thanks. John had that question. So if you want to just keep going and talk a little bit more about the architecture, then maybe we can get into the actual demo you had.
So yeah, just finish touches like more on the operational side, like the floor of it. You send a post with a file attached to it. The cloud on the right key, of course. The cloud function will disassemble this file, will create a text representation of it, and we will talk to Vertex AI. In this part, I would like to illustrate that by talking to Vertex AI ourselves, if you allow me. So we can like show how Vertex answers these questions. Can we?
Yeah, go for it.
So if we go, I have my own resume. Is one of my faces. Like I said, 20 years, lots of functions. I actually started when there was not like data analyst or data engineer or this kind of I was a developer. That was just that. So this is my resume. It's not on PDF, but you guys will see. I will just like copy and paste on Vertex. In Vertex, this is Vertex AI. This is again an interface for you to interact with your models. You have this UI, but of course you can interact with this programmatically. Of course. Let's do some things here. I have freeform, and that's you put your prompts and get a response. That's what people is usually doing these days. So I can talk, hey Vertex, how are you doing? And it will answer in a chat manner. And see, write a lot. So this is cool and it works, but we'll do the structured manner. This is just a UI thing. Actually, on the background, it will like structure in a different sense, and we will talk about it time. So on the context field, I will put my whole resume. So if you see, every resume is different. People format it differently, put the sections in different places. So the beautiful thing about like these new LLMs, they don't care. Like they will understand whatever. Particularly these kind of fields, like where dates are formatted, and it doesn't care. It just takes it and goes for it. So our context is here. So let's test it. It is like, let's try to extract my name. You see, my name is not like labeled as my name. It's a fairly weird name. I understand that. Let's ask Gemini Pro. Gemini Pro is our model for now. It's on preview, and then we can dive into a little after. What is the candidate's name? It's just a question, right? It should be human enough. And I think it didn't like it. Let's try to change it back.
It's the law of live demos.
Yeah, that's Murphy's law. So the candidate's name, it is the preview thing, I guess. I'll blame it on Gemini Pro. So candidate's name is Yurisa. Really nice. Is already getting things, but we can like enhance that. Let's ask him, how long is my experience? How long is the candidate's experience? Just to see if can reads. Nice. It just cut this part, but that's cool. And then, like you guys see here, I didn't mention anything about stack. I call it skills on my resume.
Uh-huh.
Languages and frameworks. This was like very well formatted actually, but this is all lost. But let's ask something really that is fun to developers. What is the candidate's stack? So it's a
Okay.
really different world that is very niched. Let's see if it understands. Of course, it understands.
That's
So
awesome.
that's really cool. If you guys see here, it even formatted for me because like LLMs right now really likes to format things for us because they are like production ready. So you just like Control C, Control V, and you are good to go. Like
I,
copy and
I, I
paste
gotta say,
kind of
just that
things.
that aspect of reorganizing into bullets dynamically after you just throw a bunch of ideas, that's just handy regardless. Like there's all kinds of things that
Yeah,
just speed up your development of stuff.
exactly. So this is a thing that it does. It has its settings and it has its works. But for example, if you saw it, it was like a request per question. This can get expensive. Another thing is not giving us particularly a solid format. If we keep asking, it will change these answers, and I would need to parse these into a format that is like database friendly, and of course with native structures and everything. So it has this particular. Let's start from the beginning. So I asked three questions, right? What is the candidate's name? How long is the candidate's experience? Now I can ask all the questions at once. This would save you some money, some time, because LLMs are not particularly fast. It's quite fast, but you saw like some 2-3 seconds response time. Really cool. Now it changed. See, the stack changed. So this can yield some weird results if you try to parse it. And this is not like very much in line with development practice these days, right? So how to fix that? We could parse this, try to limit its creativity with the temperature. Temperature, I like to, when I'm trying to explain to people that are not on the field, it tries to be creative within the realm of the response. So it will try to give you some different answers. So I cut everything in there. I put the temperature to 0. So this should be consistent now. It not tries to create over something. The response will be always the same. But still, to parse these using, like, for example, Python, my tool, it can be done and it's actually quite easy. But like uh, to carry rocks around is easy, but not doable, right? Nobody wants to do it. So we need to leverage LLMs. We need to unblock these on our minds. We need to leverage LLMs power to do that for us in a single question. So how do we do that? On the reference, I told you that this would be a REST, right? A REST API. REST
Yes.
API talks in JSON format, right?
Hmm.
So what if I ask him this, like, um, I will give an instruction, answer these questions in JSON format. I'm a very educated guy, please. So it's answered already. So cool. So what
That's
did it do
amazing.
here? Yeah, it created a JSON. Okay. And it answered with labels from his head, right? For example, candidate's name, it's awesome. Experience, it's weird. because it didn't say, for example, experience time, experience equality, experience in companies. Weird,
Sure.
right? And stack, it's okay. And I like to point out that stack is a list already. So really nice, right?
Yeah,
Really.
I hate to interrupt, but I mean, I've written plenty of code to like parse text into a format that I needed it to come out the other
Exactly.
side that the code could work with, and all the double escaping and all of that magic.
Right.
So to see it just do it because that's how you asked for it, that's pretty awesome.
Don't forget the please. So you need to be polite with LLMs. So
Okay.
yeah, but like let's fine tune these in something
Okay.
that is a little bit more like uh, controllable. I don't like this word particularly, but let's say that I want a really specific schema and format
Hmm.
in this schema. So we should tweak these prompts to give me a more like precise answer and like
Hmm.
repeatable answer. So let's say it like this. As this just in JSON format, please use this schema. And then I can create the schema. The schema will be like JSON. Um, I don't particularly need to use any kind of convention or programming language. I will copy this part because it was awesome. So what I will do here is some formatting. I will try to guide him through the schema that I want. And then I will say something like string. I want a string because, yeah. Experience time. Let's use something like it. Oh, weird. I want this in integer because integers are cool. Because nobody has like a year and 8 months experience. Everybody has
Hmm.
1 year, 2 year, and people lie a lot on resumes. So tech stack. Tech stack is a little different. I want a list with strings. So this is, I want to point out that this is not particularly like any kind of machine language,
Right.
valid programming language or anything. Just like it's just like free text because it should understand. It's like we talking here. So I should be able to say this. Use this schema here, Alan, and parse this resume for me. This is
Hmm.
the thing we do with LLMs. But there is a catch here. Uh, in experience time, it used a string here, right? And I don't want to leave margin for any error in the future. Let's say I want to specify something. So you are totally free to prompt this and ask in years. So for now, I should be getting really cool results in the format that I asked. Let's see if it does. Where is my submit? Over here. And then we got it. Let's check the schema. This was the really cool part of it. So condat name, it's cool. It's a string. Experience time, it got the label right, and it's an integer. Now it changed because I asked him in a way that he would understand that the tech stack continue the same. Just change the label. So I think with this power, I can leverage this power to really like with some sorry, with some lines of coding, I can transform this into an API and then transform this into like a really nice POC that can be interacted with services.
Right. And I think that's the kind of the whole thing here is this was quick. Like this was, hey, I've got some text. I want to use it as an archetype of what my text might look like. And now I'm going to ask you some questions and what can you tell me back? And after you've sort of played with that a little bit, you're ready to move forward. So what would you say are some of the most common issues with early deployments?
Yeah, this seems to be pretty easy, right? I mean, like for a developer, is pretty much easy. We need to be really aware of some things that LLM does, and because this is not our platform, LLMs are not deterministic. They really access parts of their training and their training mass and the databases, not database, but yeah, sometimes they change the answer. That's why we were so strict here, limiting the temperature in a and even the prompts should be like really, really, really precise. That's what I did with the in years thing, associated with the integer, because I want to limit its creativity. Like, it's weird we're talking about creativity and machine, but yeah, that was my thing. So we are trying to limit its ability to change the answers, or at least the answer, the response structure. I want him to be really clear. Other really points and issues, for example, maybe the stack is not so evident. Just an example, or the experience time. Sometimes, for example, people use dates, like I'm working since 99 or whatever. Sometimes it gets things done and do the calculations, the basic math from 99 to today. Sometimes it doesn't, because it didn't understood do that well, and the field come empty. So if you are getting two nulls or false responses, you should go and try to refine your system. Actually, on your prompt, your system should be really ready to go, right?
So I think this leads, like, one of these common problems. There was a note here from Tomas about something about says we already see Gemini Pro is filtered too much. How do we avoid this? Make our own micro LLMs which are more open. And I guess one of my points about that is I think there's going to be some other Gemini focus sessions of this like later in the year. So I think you're going to find a lot more about Gemini. But I also think it just speaks to you've got to play with these parameters a little bit along the way, right? Just to kind of make sure that you're getting what you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's be clear about some things. The filters are there not only to compliance reasons. Of course, we can have like mouthy LLMs offending people all around. This is basic, right? But yeah, uh, but the filters are used to direct your prompts to also direct your prompts to a more productive way. So these LLMs are all curated by, in the case of Gemini and Bison, that the ones that we are talking here. Actually, Gemini didn't want to talk to me, only Bison. Uh, they are tailored, business oriented. So the responses and how we interact with them, it's part of Google's strategy under GCP to make your business thrive. So sometimes it get changed. Sometimes the filtering are not what you want, but you need to live with that. And I think like it's for better for everybody that is like this is curated black box thing, because if we if we allow people to see what's happening, it can be dangerous, I guess.
Well, and I think that's something that's really important is Google's very committed to avoiding bias and other things that would just be objectionable in the business world. So as you're developing an LLM, one of the things we've worked on really hard at Google is making sure that it is appropriate for sort of a business setting, something that you could sell to your B2B business customer with your innovative project. So some of that filtering is not bad. It's actually like there to protect you and your business as you're developing solutions to make sure you don't run afoul of compliancy and other things. And so speaking of that, so we've got somebody now that's done this kind of CV application, and they think, hey, this is cool. I could maybe go scale it to be kind of a B2B solution. What's a larger scaled architecture look like? Do you mind sharing kind of that picture and talk us through it?
Sure. This is a very, very small application. Let's say like this. I just got the file in there, but like I need to have some things that would like be on a, let's say, production environment. And production environments needs mostly persistence and like communication in intercommunication with other systems. So we have here um, a really nice um, GCP oriented architecture where we would have not one but three cloud functions. Why three? You say that's too much. No, no, no. Functions, like they are really small pieces of code that would like have this PDF file. I expanded this to be a doc file as well because we detected that people would send their resumes in doc format. So this would get these. and we got to storage right away because we want to build like a trail. And we did this using PubSub, which is Google's way of messaging systems. The cool thing about it, from PubSub to cloud storage, there are syncs that are automatic. You just point and click and configure, and you are set. Like no code needed. And I know, we developers, and I'm talking to you, Alan, as well. We hate when we cannot code things, but it's for the best because these things are auto scalable. They work within GCP's gates. They are all authenticated and they are awesome and fast. So we don't need to be caring about the underpinnings of our application. Google does that for us. So this led us to really high uptimes and no issues at all. So from this raw file that I sent there, I fired again a PubSub that triggered another cloud function. This cloud function, it pre-processes the text. So it will take from a file format, from a PDF format, and will give me these texts that I need. Again, I need persistence. So the text extracted from these files will go to raw storage again. And then, of course, we will have a third one that will interact with Vertex. So this is like an enterprise grade already because we are pulling this data and persisting in lots of storage and like processing into Vertex. And from Vertex, we are like processing and storing the actual process data as well as the raw data. So if one wants to really pull back all this trail, all of this processing is very easy because I connected everything here via UUID. So you would have UUIDs as metadata in all of those systems, the PubSubs, the cloud storage, the BigQuery, and the Cloud Star. So just to be clear here, BigQuery here is our warehouse because it's structured already, or at least semi, and Cloud Star would be our transactional database. So that is where apps would access the data real quick, just the process data, the extracted data for this application.
Well, so that's
That's the
great. It
whole
looks like
thing.
we've got a ton of questions here from the audience. So clearly we're hitting a nerve with our topic. Why don't we go through that a little bit, and then we'll talk at the end about how they can get started themselves more specifically. So the first question I have is from John, and he asks, "What are your thoughts on AutoML as a starting point for a proof of concept?"
I like the concept of having own models running locally and these kind of things, but the thing is, you still have like a huge machine, and you have like to be like on AutoML. I think it's harder than just to talk to Vertex like this because it's you have to configure stuff, you have to train your models. I don't think like it's from a business financial perspective, I don't think it's so direct and easy with Vertex. Again, with Vertex, I didn't train anything, I didn't expose data sets, anything like that. I just like asked questions to it. I even greeted with a nice "have a nice day." So that's it.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is if you're trying to do rapid development and do something quick and sort of show a proof of concept, this can be a faster way to move forward, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, I used AutoMLs, but this is more like AutoML is more focused on traditional. That's I hate to say that, but like we are saying that that Confidence, that beautiful precious ML model, is now legacy and traditional because of
No,
LLMs.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like that was a way to get things done, but you can
yeah,
do things if you're just trying rapid testing, and there's some scalability and
yeah.
some other
Let's say
benefits to
that
AutoML.
AutoML is more focused on statistical models, and
Mhm.
that LLMs, Vertex, you can interact with those, of course, as a backend. So, but the LLM part is much easier, just Vertex LLMs. In case of Google, Gemini, Bison, Code Bison, Chat Bison.
Okay, so then another one is this is from Benoth. It says, "I'm planning to build an AI application for converting BRD documents into DevOps backlog items and user stories in order to simplify the project development process. How do you develop using Vertex AI using Gemini model? And it says BRD documents should be domain specific and show the safe and secure, should not use LLM model. It's a long question.
Let's just try to give some order here because I got confused. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot to it.
you want to convert BRD documents into tickets. Let's say just generic like this, and you want to like try to extract things using domain specific. Like first of all, try to see if these things are not already on the LLM. For example, Gemini. Gemini is on preview. I would like be extremely cautious with that. I would go to Bison. It's extremely powerful as it is. And you saw Gemini try to kill my game here, so I had to default it to Bison. So try to see if these domain specific are not covered by the LLM already. If not, you have like two choices. You can retrain it using your data, very labor intensive, hardware intensive, and by intensive I want to be expensive. And you can actually do another route, like you can do a system, a retrieval system, where you do a query system that you can use to search your documents using the LLM. This can bring more concepts, but the thing is, if you want to write tickets with it, you'll be really clear on the objectives. And if you want to build this pipeline, this should be a really long pipeline because you need to infer what you are trying to do, convert it to objectives, and then connect everything into a single ticket. So really long pipeline. I would test it. I think like it's fascinating, this project. When you can ping me if you are already started, I wanted to chime in with some ideas. But the thing is, you should be really clear about your pipeline, define your objectives, your sources, and see what you want to accomplish with that. But it can totally be done. I did some things already with trying to measure quality and try to access some things from tickets, more specifically Jira tickets from our company here. But the thing is, it can be done without LLMs. So we have a mantra here. If it can be done quickly without LLMs, we default to it because of costs.
Well, I
But
think
yeah,
that's right, because there is one benefit to doing something more classical computing is the determinism of it, right? You don't always know what the LLM is going to do, which kind of drives us to the Oscar's question. Says, is it possible to provide inputs to teach the model for specific use cases and multiple requests? And so I think one thing I'll say is you kind of showed us that of, hey, you told the LLM you wanted the format in a certain way, and it reformatted the output in that way. But I don't think that's the same thing as sort of teaching or training the model.
No, it's not. For that, we would use the inputs that the UI provide. But for example, you can extend. You have a bunch of ways of doing that. Again, we go back to the retrieval system, the query system, where you put a bunch of documents and make it search through these documents to find context and answer you. We have second one, the training. The training is more expensive because you need to format the data before it and you need to process it. But yeah, you can teach your LLMs to do exactly your things. So there is a great thriving community around that today, not particularly within GCP because GCP is totally business oriented. But for example, we have LLMs specialized in cartoons, in graphic novels, in gothic things, medical terms, musical texts like analysis. So people are doing that in these manners, like providing context, is embedding context, not just throwing data as we did, is a little bit different. Creating query systems for documents and retraining, which people calls fine-tuning the model because we have these giant mass of data that Google provided, like the vendor provided. And then we put like our small data on top of it and try to retrain everything and mix all them all together to achieve like personalized results. This is the way today, but again, this is very expensive. Like for now, is very niche for really high-end, top-end enterprise clients. What we did here is leveraging only what LLMs already know. I just provided some microdata to it, just like a resume file, some 2,000 tokens, maybe less, and it gave me all the system and the answers that I got.
Okay. So then the next question was, it says, is it possible to use this API in Visual Code? And I assume they're speaking to like Visual Studio Code. And I think the quick answer is, once you've established that API endpoint for Vertex, you can just post data to it, correct? Like,
Even more than that, of course, you can just use this data, this code within your machine and leveraging Vertex AI and having, for example, debug powers to analyze the objects real time. So you can set breakpoints and everything. It's actually easy if you leverage, for example, cloud functions, as I did here. You have like a module that is called a functions framework, and it's totally powerful and works within Visual Studio Code really, really nicely. They play really nice along. You just need to run something. You got debug, you got advanced module properties. Is really cool.
okay. Well, so we're coming to the end here, and I think this last question's a nice way to conclude. Hugo's asked, how can we calculate the cost of a project based on the objective and then getting a list of ML tools and environments needed? And I think one of the things about this question really has to do with, you've laid out an architecture just as a sample, like you could build it this way and earlier in the presentation. And it's not that hard to go out to the actual GCP cloud calculator to actually go pick out those components and say, per transaction, this is what this costs, and model it out. But I also think it does take a little bit of expertise if you're not familiar with it, how to do that. And that's where Google Cloud uses partners like Agile Engine to get things done. So if people wanted to learn more about, this particular project you showed us here, I think we've got links in the description of the video about that. But would you have any other advice to people on how to put together the pricing and figure that out?
Yeah, I would start to get a really precise ballpark, like a really small ballpark around the price using the calculators. The thing is, sometimes we miss something. For example, a video transfer or some bandwidth that we are not accounting for, and maybe this can be heavy. On LLMs, actually not, because they take the majority of the cost to them. But one thing that you can do, for example, not for a POC just to show, but for example, for MVP, something more aligned to what you want as a final, I would like tag everything and run through billing, like make some sort of batch. For example, depends on what you're doing, but for example, 1,000 documents, you process the whole 1,000, and then you go to it and you can tag everything and then actually measure your costs, so you can like extrapolate that really quick. So this is something that you should be doing anyway to test this architecture if it is ready for battle. Like if you really want to go with it, it will scale properly. It's handling everything that you need on timely. So you can put costs on that artillery testing. So, but basically, the calculator should get you on the bills to get approved, and then after approved, you can like make really precise forecasting using tagging and the billing systems on GCP.
Well, Yuri, thanks so much for that and all your advice today. There's some great links people can follow up in to try this out on their own, as well as links to the blog post where you've laid this out in kind of great detail for people to try it on their own. So thanks a lot for your time today. And everybody, enjoyed having you on this innovation session. And join us next week for another great session on how to innovate on Google Cloud.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for Alan for the opportunity here. I really wanted to show up this stuff, and the cool things, like this just one thing that we did out of this chat proposition that everybody does. Like, I want to talk to the documents. It was a simple extraction using LLMs trained data only, and it was quick. But this can be much more further away from what it is. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and have the best one.
Yep. See y'all next time.
At Google Cloud Next, we're announcing an amazing show.
All right, cue the music.
We're building the new way to cloud.
So that just means we get to think even bigger.
And now helping you connect like never before.
Let's start with development.
I'm loving this. Super cool.
AI is going to change the game for all of us.
Live on the demo stage.
I can't tell you how excited I am to continue blowing people's minds.
We're now in the midst of one of the most profound technology shifts in history. There's so much more for all of us to explore together that'll power this next chapter of digital transformation.